right, in this video we're going to be making and reviewing something from the official Disney Parks Cookbook. It actually comes from the Animal Kingdom section of the cookbook, and it's called the Tomato Florentine Soup. And they just have a little bit of a small picture right here. I'll try to see if I can get it. Either way. Apparently this is made at Boma, and I'm really excited, y'all, because in a couple months we're actually going to be spending the night at the Animal Kingdom Lodge when we go to Disney. I've always wanted to stay there, so I'm super pumped about that. So I'm really excited that this is inspired from one of the restaurants at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. So if you stay there, drop some comments, let me know what you think of it. Anyway, this is just a soup, basically. It's got some ground turkey, it's got some tomato sauce, some chicken broth, some other vegetables and things like that. So anyway, I'm going to show you some clips of me putting it together. So here's step one, which I am just basically taking some ground turkey and I'm going to cook it and saute it until it's cooked. Here I'm starting to add some of the seasonings and spices that the recipe calls for. And once that's done, I'm going to give it a good mix and make sure everything's nice and seasoned well. All right, so now that everything's cooked, I'm adding some onions, carrots, and celery that are all diced up in my little dicer thing, and then I'll let these saute for a few minutes. Now it's time to add the chicken stock to the recipe. And now I'm adding in some tomato sauce. Now finally, I'm adding in some fresh diced tomatoes. So once this is all added, I'll give it a good stir and I'll let it all kind of simmer together for a little bit while I make the pasta. Now here I'm preparing the pasta while the soup simmers. Now I'm adding the cooked macaroni to the soup. After a good stir, I'm adding the spinach, and the recipe calls for 2 bags of spinach. I'm just putting 1 based on personal preference of spinach, and it's already pre-washed spinach, so I'm just kind of using my clean hands to make it a little bit smaller as I add it into the soup, even though I know that some of it will wilt. And here's the soup done and ready to eat. It's review time. I loved this soup. It was really good. It was a big hit at my household for me and my husband both. We both really enjoyed it. It actually reminded me of a goulash that I make sometimes. And what I do to make this goulash is I'll take like a pound of hamburg or ground turkey. I'll maybe put an onion or pepper with it, put some seasonings on it, and then pour in a couple cans of diced tomatoes. And then I serve that over macaroni noodles or rice. And it tastes really well. So this reminded me of that, but just a soup version. And that actually got me thinking, I believe rice would work as a really good substitute in this recipe instead of macaroni noodles. So if you're maybe trying to watch your carbs or you've got some gluten sensitivities, I think you could easily swap out the macaroni in this recipe for rice. So let's get into the rankings. The first thing I rank is the ingredients on a scale of 1 to 5, and I'm gonna give this a 1.5, which basically means everything is really easy to find and nothing's super expensive. You do spend a little bit more money on this than maybe you would some of the other recipes because, you know, there's several ingredients involved, but they're all easy to find. But I will say, I think that you get a lot of bang for your buck. This makes a really nice big dish, so I think that the investment that you put into the dish, you will see back with multiple meals, depending on the size of your family. This would be honestly a really great thing to make maybe on like a Sunday afternoon and then have the soup for lunch all week. I think that would work really well. Difficulty rating on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being easy and 5 being difficult, I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't really think it was super difficult, as you saw, but there's a lot of steps involved, and that's why I'm giving it a 2. You know, you gotta make the noodles, you gotta saute, you gotta kind of wait and be a little patient. But it's not hard. I think that basically anybody out there could easily do this recipe. It's really simple and easy to put together. And then would I make this again on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being never and 5 being absolutely? It's definitely a 5. Again, really like this. I thought it was a really delicious recipe. You get a lot of value for it, and definitely will be making it again.